Hello, all of my fabulous, beautiful people, and how are you all doing today? I hope that you're all doing fabulously, amazingly well. And today, we are going to be going through the inceldom theories. That's right. You may believe that if you're an incel, you basically hate women, you're probably racist, and you're just angry at the whole world, and that's the end of it. However, as you've all been finding out along with me, we have different pills that they take and different theories that they have. Today, I thought it would be fun if we dove right into a bunch of them and talked about what are all of the incel theories. So without further ado, I'm gonna roll that intro and we'll get right into the inceldom cringe. And the best place for us to start is, of course, with our favorite Incels, A Guide to Symbols and Terminology by Moonshot. And Blue Pill is the best place to start in terms of the theories because it sort of explains why the whole pill thing is a thing. So based on the 1999 film The Matrix, the concept of pills is prevalent across the manosphere and far right. Yeah, the Matrix seems to be connected to a lot of weird things. According to incels, a blue-pilled male engages in conventional dating practices, unaware of the real society incels inhabit. Incels see blue-pilled attempts to improve attractiveness as futile unless one's physical appearance improves. This is all women care about. We're all shallow bitches, remember? An example of this can be seen below. And here we have an auto moderator, and they say, therapy is blue-pilled, it don't fix your face. And then it, of course, says that it's a bot of a subreddit. It's from r/braincells, a banned incel subreddit. A response pre-written by the incel subreddit moderators has been triggered by the keyword therapy. Because heaven forbid incels go to therapy. That's exactly what they need, by the way. Its dismissiveness is indicative of incels' approach to mental health support. And this is a stigma that I think needs to be ended, not just with incels, but everywhere. It is perfectly fine to have a mental health issue. It is perfectly fine to be on medication. It is perfectly fine to seek therapy. It does not automatically make you crazy. Therapy is considered blue-pilled to the incels because it is premised on the belief that the incel way of thinking is flawed. Of course, they think that their way of thinking is how it should be. Swallowing the red pill, which I'm sure a lot of you have heard the term red pill in terms of politics. It is often used to describe those that are on the far right. So I'm sure you're familiar with the red pill, at least at that extent. So it says, swallowing the red pill refers to a man waking up to the real world where women are better off than men. Female oppression is a myth, and women actually desire traditional gender roles. If a man is aware of these truths of red pill ideology, he can manipulate women to his advantage and access sex and power. Because again, everything here is for the feat of getting a woman, getting sex, and getting power. The term red pill is not exclusive to incels, as I pointed out, and is used by other parts of the manosphere, as well as the far right and violent far right. And there does appear to be quite a connection to those that are red-pilled as incels and the far right and violent far right. The black pill. Black pill philosophy accepts the unequal society proposed by the red pill, but rejects the idea that one can game the system to their advantage. It interprets sexual rejection as a matter of female prejudice, and that unattractive, genetically inferior men will never access sexual or romantic relationships in the current dating and sexual milieu. Again, we're all shallow bitches. We all want giga-chads. No amount of personality, charisma, or gym maxing, which, as we learned in the last definitions video, that means working out at the gym a lot, can change a black-pilled incel's fate. Their genetic inferiority is hopeless and inescapable. So basically they're fucked. They're never gonna get laid and it's all the women's fault. Incels who have swallowed the black pill often describe themselves as doomed, with no other option but to LDAR, which means lay down and rot. The black pill argues that because women are hardwired to prefer certain physical features, and again, apparently we all are hardwired to prefer the exact same ones, such as strong jawlines and cheekbones, they will never have sex with incels. I mean, that's not why women will never have sex with incels. We won't have sex with incels because you all treat us like shit and hate women. This ideology of nihilism and despair captures many incels' sense of being trapped in an unjust world. The world is just so mean to them. It begins to pose a threat to society, especially women, when this philosophy encourages an entitlement to sex and the correction of the status quo. These are usually the dangerous incels. This entitlement allows incels to rationalize discrimination and violence towards women, as they feel they are oppressed by a female-dominated society. And that is why these are the incels that we all have to be weary of. Guys, I know that we do a lot of joking and that around here, but do know that some of these extreme belief systems are worrisome. And the black-pilled inceldom is where the violent incels come from. Although, yes, I like to add comedy to all of the topics so that we can get through and it doesn't make you want to go jump off a bridge at the end of the video, unless it's just because you hate me and you hate hearing my voice. Do know that I am also warning people that this is a thing, it does exist, and women, especially in our world, need to be careful and wary of this. It's not just a meme. Lookism. Lookism is a theory of objective beauty that draws on eugenics and scientific racism. What the fuck is scientific racism? That just shouldn't be together. It is grounded in both red pill and black pill ideology. Incels engage with lookism terminology either to rate physical attractiveness or discuss whether it effectively explains their lack of sexual success. Lookism websites, because that's a fucking thing, tend to focus on discussions of archetypal male beauty and methods of maximizing these physical traits, rather than engaging in other incel-related topics, such as discussions of hypergamy. However, several lookism websites, again, that's a fucking thing for real, are clearly part of the incel ecosystem. Clearly. Explicitly acknowledging incels or featuring incel-specific posts and discussions. Many individuals define their inceldom through lookism. Incels often describe themselves by identifying a physical feature they feel is the cause of their lack of sexual success, alongside the suffix cell, C-E-L. An eye cell is an incel who believes the appearance of their eyes fails to meet lookism standards, while a wrist cell believes their wrists are too small, often indicative of having a small frame, which incels call being a manlet. Well, Queen sits here and just calls all the incels manlets. So here we have, do you have incel hands? Measure your hand breadth. And I guess they all do it. A list of threads on lookism.net, which is one of those websites. Maybe we'll deep dive it. Let me know down below if you want us to. One of which is for incels discussing incel hands. Is that better than idle hands? Wrist-cell is brutal because there's absolutely nothing you can do about it. Anything above the neck you can fix given enough resources, except for having a low IQ IT brain. But wrist-cell equals over. And here it says on the Reddit forum, r/incels without hate. See why Reddit's a problem? Users declare to a commenter that it is over for them due to their having tiny wrists. Atomic black pill! Sometimes referred to as the nuclear black pill, the atomic black pill is any fundamental proof that women are shallow and are exclusively attracted to male physical traits. It includes black pill science experiments. For example, Tinder profile screenshots showing flirtations between women and a conventionally attractive male profile, despite him having the phrase convicted 3 times for rape of a child in his bio. Bone smash theory! The notion that bones grow when exposed to repeated trauma. This is a violent method of looks maxing used by incels to change their physical appearance. Yes, they will actually, for example, break their nose in hopes of getting a better one. It is dangerous. And although we do make fun of incels here, we do not want any of them to get hurt, so please, incels of the world, stop doing that. Cheerleader effect. The belief that women in groups appear more attractive than they would individually, like a group of cheerleaders. Cock carousel. The concept that women in their 20s ride the cock carousel, jumping from man to man before settling down with a less attractive male in their 30s. Dog pill. This is a real thing. The incel belief that women are having sex with dogs and that they would prefer to do this over having sex with an incel. There is a whole group of incels that actually think that women are often doing bestiality over having sex with them. It's a worrisome thing, and stay away from them. It's creepy. I don't like it. Halo effect. The tendency to unconsciously view an attractive person as innocent and assign them positive characteristics such as honesty, talent, and intelligence. Incels see this social bias demonstrated by the case of Jeremy Meeks, whose mugshot was shared by the police in Stockton, California. Meeks' photo went viral due to his good looks, and after completing his sentence, he was offered a modeling contract. Not really sure why we rewarded him so much for bad behavior, but I guess here we are. These next 3, we gotta go over sort of together, so that they're also not mixed up. JB is jailbait, and that means sexually desirable girl just below the age of consent, which I don't think can exist. I do not believe that you can be sexually attractive to girls under the age of consent, otherwise you're another thing. But anyway, the girl is considered bait because she is a temptation to commit a crime by engaging in sex with an underage girl, and you see them putting the blame on the girl, like it's her fault that these people are tempted by her. It's more victim shaming by incels. But JBB is something completely different. It does not have to do with jailbait, and that means just be black. The suggestion that certain behaviors that allow you to access sex are only available if you are black. Example, thug maxing. And they have what's called JB pill. And that has to do with jailbait again. This is why I felt like I had to go through all 3 of these together, because JBB is not in alignment with JB and JB pill. You see what I mean? So jailbait pill is a theory that incels have. This is part of the pill terminology and refers to accepting that jailbait is an anti-male concept that prevents incels from accessing sex with prime-aged girls. And I mean, honestly, I can't be too upset with people that don't want people to be into underage girls. It is sort of an anti-male concept. Just don't do it. JBW stands for just be white. And that is the suggestion that certain behaviors that allow you to access sex are only available if you're white. And honestly, a lot of the inceldom is racist, so jihad pill, also a real thing, accepting that the only way of accessing sexual and romantic relationships is by becoming a jihadist or committing jihad. Along with that, you have jihad maxing, and that's, accessing sexual and romantic relationships by becoming a jihadist. And this is why, again, little worrisome. Male leader effect. The opposite of the cheerleader effect. When the most attractive man in a group looks more appealing than if he was alone, and his male companions appear less attractive. Nice guy syndrome. A label or term for men who believe they are entitled to relationships because they possess personality traits that make them good partners. Go see some of my r/nice guy videos for more info. NPC. That stands for non-player character. And I'm sure that you've heard me talk about this a little bit. And it refers to automated characters in video games who cannot be controlled. NPCs are understood by gamers as basic, pre-programmed entities who can't think for themselves, relying on present coding and graphics. And there was a video where CC had gone up and talked to somebody about being an NPC. Chuck and I reacted to it recently, and so you would have heard the term then. But for incels, NPC has become a term for individuals who are seen as part of the system. So they kind of think of it almost in reverse and believe in politically correct or left-wing narratives and are not awake to the truth of the world. In other words, they aren't red-pilled or black-pilled. Scientific black pill. I never want to see science and black pill in the same sentence, but here we are. Scientific, of course in quotations, evidence used by incels to support their ideology. This evidence is usually misinterpreted data from wider scientific or economic studies, which is used by incels to explain women's behavior. Can we call it pseudoscientific black pill then, please? TikTok pill. Well, that has to be a new one, doesn't it? An example of incels keeping up with current trends. The TikTok pill claims that the social media platform TikTok is dominated by Chads and Stacy's. Isn't all social media technically dominated by Chads and Stacy's though to these guys? I just wanted to talk about this for a minute before we sort of wrap up our version of the theories and stop using the document for our deep dives. Are incels connected to other violent extremists? I think that everyone here wants to know. Incels are interested in the ideology and actions of extremist groups that offer access to sex or disrupt society through targeted violence. And this is why we need to learn about these extreme beliefs. Incels discuss the merits of both violent far-right groups and jihadists, which advocate for traditional gender roles or full-on sexual slavery as potential solutions to their virginity. Members of incel communities also celebrate violent extremist attacks, such as the Christchurch mosque shootings, because of the deaths and injuries inflicted on non-incel members of society, especially the women, of course. Many incels appear to subscribe to violent far-right ideologies. Their choice of avatars, usernames, and taglines incorporate violent far-right symbols, and they share videos or manifestos related to violent far-right attacks and anti-Semitic conspiracy theories. Jihadist content is more carefully policed by incel moderators. However, incel avatars referencing jihadist groups are still common. And then we have examples here, from left to right. This avatar depicts Pepe the Frog, dressed in a balaclava and wearing a headband with the slogan of the Qassam Brigade, an armed faction of Hamas. The second one in the middle there is an avatar of Dylan Roof, who is an American white supremacist responsible for the murder of 9 people in the 2015 Charleston church shooting. And then that one there on the end, the black and white one, says the avatar is Ed Kemper. And he is an American serial killer nicknamed the Co-Ed Killer as he targeted young women. Storm cells. Last one that I think we really need to go through since we've already sort of talked about jihad maxing and what all that means. Storm cells are incels who openly self-identify with the violent far right. The prefix storm references Stormfront, the popular white supremacist website. Yeah, fuck, of course it does. Storm cells' interactions with other incels are illustrative of the unique environment of the incel ecosystem. They tend to hold traditional far-right views about racial hierarchies and are reluctant to engage in sexual acts with non-white women. However, Storm Cells' ultimate allegiance appears to be towards other incels, regardless of their race or religion, over white women. In fact, the incel ecosystem appears to be a space where storm cells can question their own far-right ideological assumptions and engage in reflective discussions about this ideology with non-white incels. So a lot of racism and misogyny these incels tend to believe in. And that is a very decent deep dive into the look of all of the theories that incels have and their main belief systems. I think it's important that we know this information if we are going to be going forward and talking about them a lot more. I have been talking about this whole incel community since about 2019, just here and there all around, and then I got to meet a bunch of them over the years, and now I think we need to dive into this and really talk about it and what it means for society and why these extreme beliefs are worrisome. I hope that I have done a good job of presenting the information to you so that going forward, you'll at least know what the hell I'm talking about when I say things like Giga Chad maxing, or this dude's definitely black pilled. Thank you so much for being here. Please make sure that you do all of the YouTube things, and no matter where you are or what you're doing, I hope that you have a fabulous rest of your day. Take care. If you're a woman, be safe out there from these fucks, and I'll see you all very, very soon. Bye! And don't be a fucking incel, dude.